my pleasure to welcome Sky Krautema with the senior speech. This is an ode to arrogance. I think that I know everything. I think that I know everything every day. I never second-guessed that yesterday I knew everything. Can you learn if you refuse to change? I can truly only promise you one thing, that this will only make sense to a few of you. But like usual, we rationalize the unknown with assumptions that form our own reality. I hear that if you don't sleep for 3 days, you're considered legally insane. Is it irrational if I refuse to believe that? I think it should be ill-advised to have a repetitive sleeping pattern. It just sounds a little bit OCD to fall asleep and wake up at the same time every day. I mean, how are you supposed to forget you're awake like that? It's finally Friday, 1 a.m. I never find myself without a plan. Honestly, it sounds like a hard thing to do if you're lost. I like to think of my life as a giant linear regression, with trees and leaves leading to hypothetical outcomes. A rational person will believe that taking into account every probabilistic outcome is a very decisive quality. A rational person will begin to question whether or not probabilistic is a word. Sometimes I turn my headlights off at night and drive really fast so no one can see me. It's funny that living truly is an illusion of control. I'm not a rational person. I like the fact that I'm hard to follow. It's 5:48 a.m. February 10th. A movie once told me that if you stay awake for 3 days, you begin dreaming while you're awake. That doesn't sound like a bad thing to me. I mean, I rarely know what state I'm in, but I love California. I suppose my opinions are a tad bit biased. Is there ever an opinion that's not? I sleep more than the average person anyway. It's 5:48 a.m. February 9th. I was never very good at English. The number 2. The day I was born and the usual amount of sides to any story. The number of subjects that I usually change before I'm relatively certain that the person that I'm talking to has completely forgotten what I was referring to in the first place. I like mazes. I like to think that I'm smarter than everyone else. But who doesn't? I'm not really smarter than many people. I just cheat better because there's no paper trail when you can read other people's minds. It's 12/18, November 3rd. I'm the most jaded person that I will ever have the pleasure of meeting. A lot of the time I second guess the things that I think. Even more often I second guess those things. The only thing that I triple check is irony. But I guess that's what thinking really is. It's 3:40 a.m., September 4th. I'm late. I like to tell myself I'm not scared of anything. It's funny that arrogance truly is an illusion of control. There are never any police on my street at 3:30 in the morning. I know this because every morning I look out my window and I see someone driving ridiculously fast down my street without their lights on. He almost killed me once. They should really put speed bumps in. And sometimes I like to refer to myself in the third person. It just makes everything more exciting. I like to partition my mind into multiple personas in order to stay organized. I'm not quite sure why having multiple personalities is considered a disorder. I just like things clean. It's 12 o'clock. I have 20 hours left. I hate the sound of chewing. I find it funny that I'm such a critical person, yet I hate when other people are. Sometimes life has too many unavoidable hypocritical situations. I consider myself somewhat of a blind anthropologist, like Ray Charles. The wisest man I've ever met once told me that I'm a legend in my own mind. One of my biggest problems is that I can't stop referring to myself as the wise man. It's 4:34, June 17th. There's a direct correlation between how much I slept last night and how attentively I appear to be listening. Oddly enough, it has a counterintuitive proportionality. I wrote a formula for it once, but if I showed anyone, I probably wouldn't have any friends. A lot of the time, I want to write a book, but then I remember I don't know how to read. I rarely remember half the things that I want to do, so I go and write that down. It's 10 a.m., April 1st, and I just remembered. I hate to forget. When I was younger, I thought my entire life was a movie. But I guess everyone did at one time or another. I miss magic. I guess things have a way of changing you. Does that mean I'm learning? I'm paranoid. I believe that due to the uncertainty principle, the act of measuring a bad situation inherently changes the outcome. If the probability of my plane crashing is 1 in an infinitely large set of universes, I think that I have a good chance of making it, as long as I think about it. Or maybe the fact that I believe that to be true inherently breaks the logic. My life has a circular aesthetic that usually keeps me from doing the right thing. It's a fact that 100% of people die, unless you're frozen in time, like Walt Disney. It's summer. It's only 2:43. It's December. I enjoy the term time management. I don't do recreational drugs. I have a strict diet of creational drugs. I live a very healthy lifestyle. I place blame more often than I should. I do it quite a bit more than most people would listen to. I wish I was religious. It just sounds easier. It's time for bed. It's 7:45 a.m. It's time for class. Courage the Cowardly Dog is on. It's a hard thing to remember to forget. It's harder to remember to forgive. The hardest thing to remember is to stop using the women's bathroom at 7 a.m. without locking the door, because there are people here now, and they don't take kindly to that sort of thing. It's 1:30 a.m., January 13th. My focus is very fragile. And when people do break it, I usually get angry because no one ever offers to give me a new one. Believe it or not, I've been doing calculus for 52 hours straight. It's 7:01. I used to love the idea of living in the moment. It's 7:01. The notion seems to fade when you attempt to counter it by staying awake as long as possible. It's 7:02. When I'm feeling lazy, I follow the rules. It's 7:01. Conveniently, I'm only lazy when I sleep. It's 7:01. When I wake up, I just change the subject. It's 3:34, August 17th. It's funny that arrogance is truly an illusion of control. I have an interesting track record with authority. Most of the time I just run too fast. Consequently for me, most tracks are obvious, so there's usually time to catch back up. I read too slow, I talk too much. People have mixed feelings about that. It's funny how words can sharply curve emotions without always cutting them. I like the rain. It's 5:20 a.m., April 26th, and I'm awake. I like when people think I'm stupid. It's funny that in certain environments, you only see who people truly are when they honestly don't care about your opinions. I like to think of it as a sort of delusion of intellectual grandeur. I mean, I only pretend to be smart when it's necessary. And I only find it necessary in the most inappropriate situations, such as quickly rationalizing why I did not lift the toilet seat in the women's bathroom at 7:01. It's winter again. It's 4 a.m. again. I'm asleep again? The most interesting thing about our world is that we are only here to sculpt others' realities. The thing I fear most is being called self-righteous. I hate it because it's probably true. It's just funny how everything is truly up to how we perceive it. How we take into account things other people say. How we sometimes admit our faults to sugarcoat character flaws. How we disregard statements if we can see through the speaker's agenda. Who's to say that our realities are one and the same? It's funny how we perceive time and how it's wasted. It's funny how the backspace key just smells worse than the others. Is the time spent wondering if we wasted our time a waste, or are we learning? I like to think that I have the power to change people. Other people don't. It's 5:28 a.m. January 10th. I don't dream, I don't lie. I just choose to believe in valid truths. I have no wisdom that's true, no wisdom to impart to you. Because the things that we see are not one and the same. If you don't learn to fail, you can't learn to play. It's 6:11 p.m., April 13th. I've got to get back to my day job of pretending to have a day job. This is an ode to living. Can you remember what day it is? Thank you.